Hi, everyone. It's Jimmy Nguyen, founding president of Bitcoin Association, and we are here to have a virtual meetup with our fine friends at Cambridge University Metanet Society. I will be moderating and hosting from the United States. Robin, I think, is getting ready to sit down, and we have with him also Adam Bishop. Hey, Robin, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well.
Yes,
just posted
nice.
into Medinette, I see you.
Nice sweater. So thank you to everyone from around the world who's joining to watch this particular meetup. We're going to get an update of so many of the things that are happening at the Cambridge Metanet Society. Before we start, I just want to tell you a few things that are going on in Bitcoin Association world. As you know, one of our key initiatives is education and training for the next generation of Bitcoin professionals around the world. And that includes not just training for current development professionals, but also partnering with academic institutions and other programs to provide learning opportunities to people who are currently in school or just who wants to learn more. So things we've done, of course, over the past year are some Bitcoin SV educational webinars, 2 Bitcoin SV developer conferences. Last week, we announced, if you hadn't seen the news, a partnership with Saxion University, a technical university in the Netherlands, to launch the first massive open online courses, MOOCs, regarding Bitcoin, with an emphasis on the original Bitcoin protocol design and Bitcoin SV. Our team is working with Saxion University's team to develop the first one, which we expect to launch in early 2021. It'll be free for anyone to access and participate all over the world and get a certification upon completing an assessment at the end of each of the massive open online courses. So await more information about that. And in a couple of months, you'll hear more about the Bitcoin Association's own online education programs, which we expect to be launching soon as well. So that's some of what's coming down the pipeline. We were also pleased to announce just today, this morning, through a press release, that Bitcoin Association is continuing its support and sponsorship of the Cambridge University Metanet Society for a second year. They're doing a lot of great things to provide opportunities for students at the university to learn about Bitcoin, begin learning about development, and get opportunities to participate in competitions such as their Phoenix Challenge this year, which was a multi-week coding competition. And Robin and Adam will be telling you more about what Cambridge University Metanet Society is doing to support students at the university, as well as a number of the projects that their students have already created and launched recently. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Robin to give first an overview of what they're doing. They'll be each talking about a variety of projects, 4 in total, that have been launched. If you have questions, please enter them into the Q&A mode, the public chat mode that is in your in the conference platform. And Q&A mode, I'm told, is active now. So if you want to ask a question to our presenters, click the question mark, it's a little round icon on the bottom right. And at the end of each of the project presentations, we'll take a few moments to ask some of the audience questions to Robin and Adam. With that, let me turn it over to Robin and Adam to talk about the Medinette Society, what they're doing, and then they'll go into their first project, which is, I believe, Sato Learn.
Yes, thanks, Jimmy. Let's start with our presentation. It was great to hear today that the partnership was continued, and in a bit we see what we did last year with that partnership and how we will accelerate this year. Let me share my screen. So first of all, for those who don't know it, the Cambridge Metanet Society was founded 2019, around March, April. And we were a very small group initially, and we had great vision how we could expand the society to have more outreach, especially also to those who are not yet in the blockchain space, but who might be very interested into general blockchain technology and what you can do with it. So last year we had both public and more private events. So we were at conferences such as the CogX Technology Conference in London. We have visited BSV meetups. We have been at the CoinGeek conference in London. But we also had Christmas events where we targeted a lot of students that were not yet in the BSV ecosystem or blockchain ecosystem, but we asked each of them what they could imagine, what they can do, what products they can develop with blockchain technology. And those were the very best answers to those questions got a ticket from us. And then we had many great discussions. And we also had the entrepreneurs dinner after the CoinGeek conference, where we took some leading developers and entrepreneurs from the BSV space and asked them what they imagine what the future of BSV is, what technology, and what the critical details are, what to get right. But we also had more smaller events, and those were also very valuable for us to form more of a group and community, which were, for example, coding tutorials. We had brunch discussions. Here in the picture, you even see Darren. You probably know him as Dagan, and two other very familiar figures. Then we also had some outreach program where we went to the Judge Business School, to the Makerspace, to the places where the creators and creatives are, and taught them about BSV and how easy it was to create applications. Ultimately, we got a wide range, a diverse population of students. So we, as Cambridge is a more scientific-focused university, of course, we had the majority from the science field, computer sciences, but also many from physics, mathematics, also specifically cryptography. But we also, and that surprised us, we found great interest from law, social sciences, and luckily also from the business administration parts, and those who are the ones that actually do their MBA year and then next year start off, go into the world and either work for some large corporations or build their own business and could expose them to the BSV Bitcoin ecosystem. What are our plans for this year? So obviously the world has changed a bit the last couple of months, but we are eager to continue and accelerate our plans and events that we hosted last year, just with one difference, that they are mostly virtual until everything is safe again. So the first priority we have is education. Many people see blockchain technology currently as a buzzword, but we want to change it. We actually want to make blockchain technology, especially BSV, a framework to develop great projects. And to develop them, you need to have a gateway to quickly learn what it means to create blockchain applications, what the critical details are, what the tools are, and how you do it. And that's why we partnered with SatoLearn, which we will discuss a bit later, to offer interactive learning experience that every student, no matter at which point of the year they join, if it's now or in 6 months, they will all get the best experience to onboard to BSV, the Bitcoin ecosystem, and then in less than 2 or 3 days are able to integrate what they learned into their own companies. And I think that's something that we haven't seen in any other Cambridge society yet. Second point is our startup support. So we see many students forming startups, especially in the MBA years, where it's also a requirement for the end of the year project. And we want to support them both with mentorship, but also with monetary grants to build the applications they are dreaming of. And I think we, from the Bitcoin ecosystem and BSV, we offer so many new concepts and perspectives how to solve things that it's a rich pool that can be accessed, and we try everything to support you into making those startups happen. The third is our events that we also had last year. Obviously digital this year, but we try to also keep together the small groups that we formed last year and try to expand it via virtual discussions, virtual seminars, like we have one today. I think as soon as the vaccine comes up, we will continue a regular scheme of formals and also brunch discussions. But things will be slightly different, but we will just adjust to how things are and what guidelines we get. So let's talk a bit about the outcomes of the Medinette Society. So other than interacting with hundreds of students, many of which go now into the industry and take the knowledge with them, we also formed a team that created Vionix. And Vionix is a corporation, more a legal structure actually, that brings us together in creating multiple platforms and applications. So instead of just making one platform, we thought we want to create a whole network of applications that all seamlessly interact with each other and thereby offer value to the user that hasn't been seen yet in the ecosystem. What does it mean? So I think some of you have seen the Vionix keynote that explains a bit the interaction and also each product. But today I want to give a bit of a different perspective of Vionix, how we created products and what we thought about it. And especially we want to invite people to ask their question whenever they have one. We want to keep it very interactive. So first, it's always about getting into the door. How do you learn Bitcoin? And often it's like someone comes up with an idea and says, I want to learn blockchain development. So and then, of course, we talk to them and say, we got here probably the most scalable solution, not only by a bit, but by far. And we also got the cheapest fees. And we have a stable protocol that will not only exist today, but also in 5 years. And then people say, great, how can I start with it? And there the troubles usually began. So we created our own classes last year. But generally, it was not the experience we wanted. And that's why we thought we need something like an interactive Udacity, Codecademy, just optimized from scratch, developed for the blockchain ecosystem and BSV. So then we created Say to Learn. And yeah, I think other than a lot of words, I just show you what Say to Learn is. So on Say to Learn, you have a fully interactive experience to learn Bitcoin. We have 6 classes, of which 1 is available today. The text might be a bit small, but everything is online right now. So you can just jump into Say to Learn directly after this talk and try it out yourself. So here we saw a task how to create your own private and public key. And then we combine it with quizzes and address generations. So the idea is that everything you need to write your Bitcoin applications needs to be doable within the browser, interactive, and for you to start right away without setting any environment up. And we got Connor as our first lecturer on board, who gives a lot of inductions into Bitcoin, keys, addresses, also privacy. And soon we can announce another handful of developers and some of the most well-known we have in the ecosystem. So that will be probably a very, very rewarding experience that you go on the website and you do class by class in 5-minute steps and you learn everything. And the one we just see was about how your address refresh works in browsers such as Money Button. So in the end, it's just a simple integer that changes, and that integer then updates the HD private key path. And then for every update, you get a different address, but it's all still stored in the same HD private key. And those are concepts that are kind of everywhere in advanced wallets, but I think they're not so well understood for normal developers to realize it's actually quite easy to create your own wallet. And we think there shouldn't be any threshold to learning. There shouldn't be any secrets. All the standard tools should be available for everyone so that we can create greater products and then ultimately compete for user experience and not for code itself. And what comes next with Say to Learn? Here, for example, we see Script Studio fully integrated into Say to Learn, and that we can do by iframing. And what that means is that you can write your own scripts, Bitcoin scripts, and see them checked within Say to Learn. And then we can, of course, embed them with all the other things we have, like videos, quizzes, for you to seamlessly onboard to BSV and also to Bitcoin script, which is on the rather more complicated side. Another thing we integrated, since we built everything from scratch, is we thought Bitcoin SV is about ecosystems, and also to make things in a way that there is not just one creator, but everyone can be a creator. And that's something that is very rare for those styles of highly specialized classes. So normally you would get the class, but you couldn't create your own one. And we thought of a concept called say-to-learn extensions, where you can build your own classes that might extend the content of our official classes. Like you could teach there how to integrate a money button or a relay. You could teach there how to create your own token. So it's kind of open for the whole ecosystem to free of charge create your own classes that users can take. But you can also charge them if you want to and earn money from it. So since we also want to give something back to our viewers today, so the first 25 people who register from now on will get $1 in BSV and get it on all of our platforms in their wallets. Our next platform, so first we introduced now a bit how you could learn.
Robin, before you get to Raspora, I have a question for you about Say to Learn, which is, I know you're planning to use the platform for some of your online programs for this year for Cambridge Metanet Society. Can you give our audience a bit of a preview of some of the types of speakers and topics you think you may cover?
Yeah, so I'm thinking, how much can I give away before I actually...
Okay.
So it's not that I didn't want to, but things need to be done before they get announced. It's kind of a core principle. But general for students, what we do is we have 6 classes and we make them all free of charge. And we have speakers like, maybe I can say it, Craig will be part of it, that also teach the fundamentals of Bitcoin from perspective as someone who founded Bitcoin. And I think that's a very authentic and accurate,
Great.
Very
and then
interesting way.
One second question before we move on to Raspora. Are you intending with your team to have a business model for Say to Learn to itself to earn any percentage of coins that are paid from creators who create courses on the platform?
So we have the following model. So the wallet workshop is for now free, and we try to keep it free. The other workshops, we try to go as low as possible in pricing. So we think about something around $20 for each class. And when you compare that to some other classes that want to have 1,000, and that will be quite a difference, especially since our classes will be for 15, 20 hours each. And we try to find partnerships to keep them for free also. And students will always have them free. With the extensions, we take a 30% cut when you charge, and we don't take anything when it's free.
Understood. Great. All right. I'll get off the feed now and let you talk about Raspora.
Yeah, so Raspora, now we talked a bit how to learn how to build platforms. Now I want to show you one platform that I did build. So it started last year at the BSV Hackathon, the second BSV Hackathon, where everyone had 48 hours to come up with an idea that would utilize the blockchain via microtransactions to create new experience that didn't exist before. And I thought about something a long time, actually, about how do we in nowadays world create knowledge, and can we utilize the microeconomy that a Bitcoin SV enables, since our fees are less than 1/40th of a cent and they will go down. And also, how do we utilize the ability to store information on chain? And then I came up with Raspora, a platform that generates knowledge graphs, and we see in a bit what knowledge graphs are. So the ideas here often start with a question, a statement, a source. So that's a bit similar to what you now see at a Quora or Reddit, where you then see some arguments, people post more sources to maybe see it from a different perspective, or people give it a certain context, where they say, yeah, you saw it now in this context, but given the whole situation, it might be slightly different. So it's also related to perspectives. And then we kind of get a chain of information. So first you start with a question, and a lot of people attaching data to it. But what Raspberry does, what Reddit doesn't do, what Quora doesn't do, is it's kind of creating a huge knowledge network where there's never an ending and there's kind of never a start. So it just continues. And we enable that and incentivize doing that by micropayments. And everything you post to the chain, every connection you make, will also be preserved on the chain. And the whole system is built in a way that the user can explore the network, but also from a data science context, but also for news investigators. It's very interesting to see how people saw the situation, how they added information, how they saw the perspectives of it. But before saying more about it, just have a look how a context network looks like. So here we have the Satoshi Nakamoto mystery hive. So we call the hive the categories. And within the hive, we got many nodes. And you can click on each node and then see the content of each node. So here, start from the beginning. So I can click on it, and then you see on the right side the content rearranging. And what I can do now is I can say, okay, so some people say Craig is Satoshi, and I think that's probably true. And like from my perspective, I would then post an article that might add information that can validate or verify that. And then someone else says, actually, you missed a small detail. So I connect another node to my node, and then we kind of get a discussion, where the next one then again connects a node to that discussion or that point, that we ultimately come up with a conclusion, instead of the current media where we kind of get exposed with so many headlines, but we never really come to a conclusion or see the full picture. How do micropayments come into the picture here? It's when I create a node, I have to pay something around 2 cents. So it's kind of an initial investment. But the moment someone connects to me, then I get 1 cent. If someone likes it, then I also get 1 cent. And not only I get the 1 cent, but everyone who is connected to me gets a fraction of that 1 cent too. So now the great system it creates, which becomes a bit alive, is that, let's say I have a hugely popular article and post it to a certain topic. And because it's so popular, there will be a lot of likes. And when there are a lot of likes on one article and it shares to every surrounding node, then I, as a content creator, get incentivized to connect to this popular node by saying, I can extend your perspective. I can say you got it wrong at certain points. You can add a bit more context. And that kind of incentivizes to have a growing and growing tree of information. And to make it truly alive, we also wanted to have something like future rewards, which we call pulses. And I think all the details you find on Raspberry, otherwise it gets a bit too long. But that kind of rewards future for attaching it, and they kind of have an expectation of reward in that case. That means, like, if I see something popular, then I attach my node and I already know that I will earn a certain amount of money for it. And that makes me want to expand the network. And as soon as it starts growing, it will keep growing and growing. And then we find very interesting connections and contexts that we wouldn't even get if we search things via Google. And ultimately, we gave the whole thing a very news-like layout. Everyone can create those topics. So it's not kind of supervised by us, but it's a completely free platform. Everyone can create a topic and creates nodes inside of it. And then the discussion starts. And that is our Raspberry platform, which utilizes every aspect of what Bitcoin SV can enable with micropayments. So when you use the platform for 10, 15 minutes, you probably already made 300 transactions.
So Robin, before you move on to your next project, there is an audience question, which is whether or not Raspberry, is it live or still in development?
It's live right now. You can go on rasprower.com and test it out. There's
Right.
one more update we want to push, and you get some more function, but we didn't want to do it too early to not break anything that already runs right now. But you test it out right now, and everything will be maintained forever. So no version update will change it.
Yeah, that question came from Heidi Patmore from Sentby in South Africa. Hi, Heidi. She also says, that looks cool, smiley emoji.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm curious which of the hives are most popular now. I'm pretty sure I can guess from the ones that you have on, but what's the most popular in terms of interaction?
So I guess the Satoshi story is the popular one right now. The reason is, if I have a discussion with anyone who doesn't know about these Satoshi stories, and it can be this discussion of I post you one thing, he posts me another thing, and this whole discussion can kind of be overcome by just posting the single hive with all the information. Then I say, just have a look and then come back in 30 minutes, and then we can talk about it. And that gives a way richer experience of discussing things. So I think that's the community also seeing.
Yes, it is a topic for constant discussion. I know. I'm sure it'll create a very intricate hive. All right, let's let you go on to your next project.
I think this one is now for Adam. Adam is our full stack developer.
Working on API and Me, which is a Bitcoin API marketplace, which is powered by microtransactions to enable a new kind of business model for APIs. We offer a wide range of APIs spanning across several industries, such as business, finance, medicines, and logistics, and so forth. We are able to offer affordable AIs with an alternative business model to the market leader, who is Rapid API. They have a subscription-based business model, which is quite limited to, where we can go with that. So we utilize micropayments to give a better user experience. We will soon be enabling peer-to-peer APIs to enable us to remove the data middleman and enhance the privacy and the speed of API requests. We've been adding machine learning and cloud APIs to our site, such as Amazon Poly and Amazon Textract. Amazon Poly turns text into lifelike speech, and Textract is able to extract data from forms and documents. With API and Me, it is now possible to chain APIs because we have micropayments which enable low transaction fees. For example, we can create one product that is made up of 4 sub-APIs, such as an IoT sensor to detect a chemical leak, and then logistics data to see how many other devices are in the area, drones for chemical detections, satellites to see whether the situation is regional or a large outbreak. If you were to do this on Rapid API, the transaction feed would be over 200%. On API, it's only 12.5%. So this opens up a very large, large opportunities for business and application development. And this amplifies the large predicted industry growth. It's a growth market, and it is predicted to rise over 200% in the next year. Introducing also Valencia, which we have been working on for the past month. It is a Bitcoin database which uses a NoSQL architecture. We use a traditional cloud infrastructure which allows developers to integrate without having to learn new skills, thus increasing the rate of development in the space. We have a competitive pricing model made possible by API and Me, and we make use of sharding. So each application has its own blockchain synchronized database. As you can see, different services have different needs. So we need to cater to those needs, and
thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
Then our next platform is Blockholds. where we thought about existing coding marketplaces and how you can save months of work by just having reusable components like templates, libraries, script codes. And we think that very same structure that now is almost $1 billion industry for web design, we think that will slowly also get into the Bitcoin space, where I could, for example, say, I want to build a Raspberry, and what would I need for a Raspberry? I probably need some parts of Realizia and some parts of API and me, and maybe some templates that give me some of the base functionality, like the graphs. And those templates could be less than $10 because it's very competitive. When one says, I got a solution for this wallet integration, the next one says, I got an even better solution that not only works on web browsers, but also on mobile apps. And then there's this repeating competition for best design, best user experience. And we try to thereby offer, especially also smaller developers, to create their own solutions to implement certain things. Like maybe someone needs to have a way how to push megabytes of data to the blockchain from some user interface. Then he might create this library and sell it on Blockholds. And then we can also go one step further and say, instead of just selling as like codes as a package, like say for $10, and then hundreds of people buy it because it's the best product and it will constantly be maintained. But similar to API and me, where I can send a request and get something back, I might also send a request via CSS and say, if I pay a few cents for each time a user opens my site itself will open the style sheets, and that's what makes the interface design. And then I just charge for every single CSS call or JavaScript call. And that way we can keep the cost of adopting it extremely low. And when people use it, then it will just scale with the revenue they generate. And I think we found a way to have now this first version where you can buy templates for $10, $15. You can also have $1. That's totally up to you, and it's a free market competition. And we think that this will additionally accelerate BSV adoption. I want to thank all of our team members. It was pretty extensive work the last months to get where we are. And we think we are just getting started. So now we try to expand our team. And if you have interest, you can write us. So,
Fantastic. So Robin, I know I have a few questions myself, and we'll see if the audience has any. Audience members, if you have any questions, remember to push click the little round question mark icon on the bottom right of the chat module, and it will put questions into our question and answer mode. So Adam, let's talk about API and me. How would you compare that to Kohze? Which is obviously another API-related project on Bitcoin SV. For our audience, what are the similarities? What are the differences?
So API and me, we charge about 3% per transaction, and Kohze, I believe, charge 5%. So it makes sense.
So there's some. Let me take it. So there are some fundamental differences, like Kohze apparently charges now per API request, which means the cheapest API request can be 1/40th of a cent, in a way. So, and when you then calculate how much is 1/40th of a cent of fee, when my API request is 1 cent, then I would pay 2.5% of the whole revenue just for the Bitcoin transaction fee. And we came up with a different concept where you kind of pay in chunks, like you pay every 10th API request, or even every 100th of API requests. So we keep it still under 5 cents payment, but we initially started with the same model per API request, but we realized it's not scalable. So now what we can do is we can have an API that costs 1/1000th of 1 cent, and then just after 5,000 calls, we make a BSV transaction. That is a transaction that goes over our server and then to the API provider. that offers us also to integrate it into learning platforms like Say to Learn, where we say a new user needs to be able to directly learn it without setting anything up. And therefore, we can make it part of the class that the creator says, this API is integrated, the user gets 10 requests or 20, and we prepay it for you. Another thing we integrate is true peer-to-peer APIs. Like APIs are meant to be. I shouldn't be able to know what you are requesting from the server. And that's why we are currently building libraries that you can integrate into your server, that the user makes a request from you with a token, and then the token gets matched against our service. And then the end user just says, I just made this transaction. Please give me this 1 cent now. And that's what we're handling from you without knowing what is happening between the user and the provider. And that way we make it truly scalable.
Fantastic. Adam, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, we started working on API and Me about 2 months ago. So, yeah.
It's going all pretty quickly, so we're just getting started. I think one main difference is probably that we are online and Codeup not.
Yeah. Okay. and give people the domain name again so they can go visit it.
Yeah, so it's apiandme.com. We found the name so funny that we had to take it.
It's a cute name. I like the logo as well. Let's talk about this combination of products and platforms you've launched, right? Clearly, you've been thinking about a whole suite of things. Do you have in mind how these and anything else you are developing right now will work together to allow both developers and businesses to build more complex things on Bitcoin SV? You know, what's your sort of bigger vision for how these all work together?
So from the ground up, we made the system in a way that we have one single login, one wallet, now 5 platforms. And let's look at it from a developer perspective. So maybe I have a platform and I need to have certain APIs to offer certain information to my users. Then I'm paying a bit of money, but at the same time, I might generate revenue. We are another part of our platform. Let's say I'm offering certain data to Realizia, and then via Realizia and API, you can charge for the data that you generated with the users. So ultimately, we created a whole interactive ecosystem that will make sure that you can earn money and spend money at the same time on all of those platforms. I think that's a concept we haven't seen yet, and focuses both on the Bitcoin SV adoption for newcomers, and then also helps those newcomers to build bigger and bigger companies themselves, and that is our idea.
Can you give us any previews or hints of new components of this ecosystem you're working on, or is that to be announced later?
Well, so in a recent interview, I said this is just the first wave of platforms that we release, and yeah, so we don't grow our team for nothing. We need to really be competitive, and I guess that's also part of our company nature, that we will compete. I would say generally, now we see the ecosystem mature more and more, and we see also some players kind of changing their identity. Like we saw yesterday that the money button documentation is down. So we are not able to learn BSV at the moment. I hope it goes online soon again, because that's traditionally where users learned how to do it. But due to the shift, maybe there are opportunities to say we can take certain market positions that other businesses had currently.
Yeah, it's a fluid ecosystem, especially as it's growing. You mentioned that you are looking to grow your team. What kinds of skill sets are you looking for? And does it matter where in the world these people are located?
So our philosophy is that we take team members from all around the world. We look for best quality and like real passion for creating the best user experiences. And that entails if you're a full stack developer, you might be someone who optimizes processes. And then we need maybe a stack of SQL and cloud database handling combined with some React. That might be very helpful for us. Generally React. So I made an overview some time ago that showed that JavaScript, React.js is basically where all platforms are driven by at the moment. And the reason is that JavaScript itself has a very decentralized nature, that your browser is doing the calculation it needs. No central server is doing the calculation. And now when you get data from a decentralized source and you compute it decentralized and then push it decentralized, then you don't have any middlemen in that sense anymore. You might have middlemen saying like, we are still the developers and we still have the company, but it's a very elegant and efficient solution generally. Yeah, we also look for designers, interface designers, but yeah, we are quite open. When you come to us and say you have exceptional skills, then we have a look.
And if someone's interested in working with your team, how can they contact you?
We are available on Twitter. We have on Say to Learn, you have a certain chat box button, so we are reachable all the time. We are also in the Medinette ICU, or via email, which is also on the website. It's just anything at vianex.com.
And for not just for the students and aspiring developers and young professionals out there, but for more of the Bitcoin SV businesses and ventures that already exist, are there ways you're looking to work with other BSV companies?
So we thought about this concept of what, for example, McKinsey Black is doing, that they say we have certain skills and we can offer certain skills to companies to finish their products faster. And we want to formalize that just as McKinsey does. But first we will have now one more wave of products and then we might venture into that.
Fantastic. And is there anything else you want to add about what Cambridge University Metanet Society is going to be doing for this year that the students on your campus can look forward to?
I mean, now in the lockdown time, we can at least offer the best ways how to learn Bitcoin and get you started via our support accelerator program with your ideas and projects. And hopefully somewhere in March, when everything is over, then we will have some epic events again.
That would be great. We do like epic events. Okay, well, with that, I think we can wrap up this first Cambridge Virtual Meetup. It was a pleasure to have Robin and Adam with us. If you are watching and you're interested in learning more about the whole world of Bitcoin SV, for developers and students, you can become an affiliate of the Bitcoin Association. So visit us at bitcoinassociation.net and apply to be an affiliate. If you want to get involved with Vianex or the Cambridge University Metanet Society, contact Robin and Adam through the various means they've talked about. And we're very, very happy to be continuing to support their work at the Cambridge Metanet Society for this year, because it's such a great environment to really support great minds thinking of great new ideas. And as you can see from today's presentation, a whole host of creative platforms, ideas, and applications that are being generated there. And I can't wait to see what comes in your next wave of products this year and for years to come.
Yeah, and if I might add to that, since we are the Cambridge Metanet Society, we also look forward to see other universities spawning their societies, and I can only recommend contacting the Bitcoin Association. They're very supportive and try everything to make it happen.
All right, great. Thanks very much, gentlemen, and I look forward to seeing everything you do for this coming year.
Thanks.
Thanks all.